Hey, what's up? My name is Nate, and welcome to another mini Bible lesson. For lesson number 20, we're continuing our survey of the Old Testament. The goal of this overview of the Bible is so that we can better understand how each book fits together. Because the Bible is one book that's made up of 66 smaller books written over hundreds of years by up to 40 different authors. So for most, that makes studying the Bible a pretty daunting task. So let's look at Exodus. Exodus is the story of God rescuing Israel from slavery in Egypt and forming them into a nation. Israel is God's chosen people, the nation that comes out of God's covenant promise with Abraham in Genesis 17. In Exodus, Moses, who's the leader of God's nation, receives from God the law. God's law shows Israel what it means to be God's chosen people in the midst of other nations. This book follows the people of Israel in two main settings, in Egypt and through the wilderness, in each protected by God. We'll break this down into three sections. The first part follows the experience of Israel in Egypt. Egypt oppressed the people of God and became God's enemy. God hears the cry of Israel and sends Moses to confront Pharaoh. Exodus includes some of the most well-known images and stories from the entire Bible. Egypt experienced 10 plagues which caused Pharaoh to relent and free Israel. And this section concludes with God parting the Red Sea to save Israel from Pharaoh's army. After the Israelites left Egypt in the event known as the Exodus, they traveled in the wilderness on the way to Sinai so they can meet with God. During this time, the people of God are continually grumbling and complaining as if they've already forgotten what God has done for them. Even with their grumbling and complaining, God is revealed as their provider. On Mount Sinai, God meets with Moses and instructs him on God's law for Israel. The law is meant to shape the nation and show Israel what it means to be God's chosen nation in the midst of other nations. At Sinai, God is revealed as the king of his chosen nation. He is just and merciful. God also instructs Moses to build a special dwelling place for God, which is called the tabernacle. Moses is carrying out God's promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God equips his people to complete the tabernacle, and once it's completed, God's presence descends to dwell there. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Thanks for watching.